Good afternoon, everybody. Today, I've got something really fun for us. I noticed that a lot of my most viewed videos on our YouTube page have to do with routines, which are just modern workflow automations that we build inside of our AI system that is replacing real estate CRMs. Now, it's called the Systems Accelerator Manager, but we affectionately call it SAM over here at Workflow Secrets. And one of the things that Mark and I firmly believe is that when you own, when you build, when you're creating a piece of software that you're putting out into the world for folks to use, it's really important that you also use that piece of software. Now, it's important for a lot of reasons, but if you don't know how to use your own piece of software, it's really hard to honestly sell it to folks out there. So this training is going to cover a lot of concepts. We're going to be diving into some business models, and I'm actually going to explain my business model and then the logic behind each and every one of these pieces. And then we're going to be diving into the platform. I'm actually going to peel back the curtain and we're going to dive into our customer focused account. So you guys are going to see on the back end how Workflow Secrets makes all of this run for anyone that comes in for a new trial. So if you are a systems thinker, if you're building workflow automations, if you are a business builder looking for some money models that are being used to run and create traction inside a business, or if you're one of my real estate customers, or you're a real estate agent who is trying to understand a little bit more about building automations, this training is for you. My name is Cody Stepp. I am the co-founder over here at Workflow Secrets. I'm a second-generation real estate technologist, and I have a master's degree in marketing. So a little bit of credentialing. I work with my father, who is a 3-decade veteran of real estate technology. He is personally trained over 10,000 real estate agents into building successful businesses, and I got to grow up in a household where I was learning from him each and every day. So together we have created the Systems Accelerator Manager platform. And if you have not yet gotten a chance to look at it, I would love to invite you to spend a little bit of time. We offer up free trials. You can actually get inside of SAM today by visiting sam.workflowsecrets.info. You could follow along on this training. You could actually build some of these for your business. So that is what we've got going on. And I say, without further ado, let's go ahead and let's dive into some of these concepts. Now, I'm going to be jumping from the whiteboard to the internals of our SAM account as we go through this training. So there's a lot to cover. We're going to have a lot of fun today. Go ahead, bust out your notepad, bring out a pencil, and if you have it, sign into your SAM account. If not, pause the video right here. Go hop over, get a 14-day free trial of SAM, and then you can continue forward following along as we dive into the platform. But before we get started, I actually want to talk about where this concept comes from. So one of the things that we do inside of SAM is when a trial comes in, when someone is saying, hey, I would like to take a look at your software, you kind of need to give them some sort of experience, right? And at Workflow Secrets, we have what is called a world-class client experience. A world-class client experience is basically thinking about, gosh, how can I build such a great experience for the people that come to work with my business, that they want to not only come back, not only want to continue to do business with me, but they're more likely to share about you to their friends and to their family. And we can actually, if we do this right, create a really powerful repeat and referral business on the back end, right? Which is going to be incredible. So this is the ultimate goal, is building out that world-class client experience. But what we're able to do with systems, and this is one of those things that I absolutely love, because when we think about systems, I'm a systems thinker, I build systems. When we think about systems, we can think about, gosh, how can I build a world-class client experience with every single engaged effort that I put into my business? Now, when you think like this, you are well on your way to building out some really powerful routines. This is why we consider routines modern workflow automations. We're going to see exactly why in a second, but rather than building workflows with sometimes hundreds of different processes in a single set of tasks, right? So this might be your contract through close process, right? That's something in real estate that is pretty common. You have your photography date, you have your inspection date, you have your open houses, you have your offer submitted, then you move into your closing period. That's your contract through close process. Well, that is oftentimes going to consist of lots and lots and lots of different things, right? So instead of sitting down, and historically, we have examples of folks spending like weeks of time sitting there thinking about each and every one of these steps to build out these massive systems. You can say, whoa, 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 whoa. We don't need to go crazy. We just need to think about each and every one of these steps. And we can think about, how can I build out that world-class client experience for this specific step? Now, if that's a really difficult example for us to think through, maybe a better example of this would be actually thinking through the birthday, right? So everyone's got one birthday. When we think about a birthday, this is one of the best opportunities that we can actually surprise and delight our past clients. We can re-engage with folks that we haven't reached out to in a while. And it's a really low-hanging fruit opportunity to make them feel special. But the question is, what do we even do on their birthday? If you've asked that question, you're now thinking correctly, because this is the fundamental question that you ask when you're building out these routines. What do we do on that specific date? So inside of SAM, when we add a specific date, we call these important dates, right? That is going to trigger that automation to start. So my birthday is September the 3rd, 1992. I just had a birthday. I am 33 years old. If you wanted to do the math, I know I'm a young pup. It's fine. But we now have a birthday on an important date. What we could do on the back end of SAM in our routines is we could say, gosh, on their birthday, I actually want to 7 days before, I want to get a notice. And that notice, I want to pre-write a message for me. And I also want it to get sent right to me so I can handwrite a letter and I can throw that into the mail. Once I throw that into the mail, I can move on with my life. But then on the day, so that's going to be 0 days after, I want to actually give them a call, send them a message, reach out to them, offer them coffee, whatever it is. You can drive an experience, but you want to do something on their birthday. So knowing their birthday enables us to build out that world-class client experience on that specific date. And that specific date being filled in triggers the automated system to occur. Hopefully this makes sense. Hopefully you guys are following along. So this is fundamentally the concept that we need to start chewing on so that we can understand what's going on. But these are two examples, the old school way of doing it versus the important dates driving a world-class client experience. Let's talk about what we actually did inside of SAM to create a really cool experience for all of our new customers. So let's assume that someone is coming in for a 14-day free trial. Now, if you have not yet taken your 14-day free trial inside of SAM, you can visit sam.workflowsecrets.info. You could actually experience this because it is live right now. But historically in the past, what I have made the mistake of doing is saying, okay, I've got 14 days with you. I better work really diligently, really quickly to help teach you all about SAM. And if you have not yet experienced that kind of question, when engaged with a new piece of software, this is like the $100 million question, because ultimately I have a very small time to prove to you that this software is going to be the right solution for you. So from my end, what a question, right? But we have 14 days. So my answer to this initially was what everyone has always done. Oh, okay, well, I just need to show them features. And I would say, hey, look at this feature. And then tomorrow I'll have you look at that feature. And then tomorrow I'll have you look at that feature. And then the day after, all of you look at that feature, and onward and upward as we go. But what I found, I actually spent all of August this year looking over hundreds of past trials. I looked over feedback from our customers. I looked at individuals who took a trial but didn't end up becoming customers. I looked at emails. I looked at messages. I even looked at use inside of SAM to try and understand, gosh, where is this falling short? How are we not delivering a world-class client experience? And I realized fundamentally, this is completely wrong. So because this is completely wrong, because we spent so much time looking at features when we were actually needing to spend time showcasing how the tool can help them get results, right? Features versus results. This is like the cardinal sin in technology. And I, as a technologist, broke that rule because that's what everyone does, right? And so what we needed to do was we needed to actually sit down and we needed to rethink what we were going to be doing to deliver on an actual result for our customers. So I had a trial experience, and it was actually labeled 2.3 because I built it in 2023. Well, this experience got retrofitted, and now we have trial 2.6. So that's what we're going to be looking at. And we're going to be looking at the foundations of this specific trial. So to start, what I want to do is I want to just kind of map out the experience that someone goes through when they engage with our software. So to start, what we do is what you probably do for your business right now. We built out several different resources. We call these lead magnets. And these lead magnets serve to attract leads to us, right? So as leads come into our business, what they'll do is they'll give us their email, they'll give us their name, and then sometimes they will give us their phone number. But I don't typically ask for phone numbers. Now, conceptually, from a business standpoint, that is because the more things you ask a person for on a form, the less likely they are to continue to fill it out. So you want to be very pointed. At any point that I have a potential customer coming in through a lead magnet, they would be considered what is called a cold lead. Now, what we have to do at that point is start to warm them up, right? So we do that by first providing them value. We're exchanging their details for this resource. So the key here is you need to make resources that are incredibly valuable to them. Now, you can do this inside the platform. We have several different ways, whether you are using our creating tools or you're building books, lots of different ways. We use a strategy that is actually adopted from a framework Mark came up with called the CORE Strategies Framework. Now, the CORE Strategies Framework, CORE is an acronym, and it stands for conversions, operations, retentions, and experiences. So let's dive into that. Conversions is all about bringing in leads, right? We're bringing in leads through lead magnets. We're bringing in leads through word of mouth, through repeat referral. We're bringing in leads through marketing efforts, through advertisements, or some other method that you use to bring in leads, right? Once we have these leads, we need to service them. So our operations, how does the business actually service that? And ultimately what we're moving towards is the operational side in this specific training. But then once we have them serviced, they are going to be converted into customers, or they're going to stay as leads for a while. And then the experience is from the retentions side, we're keeping them as customers, we're building relationships with them, and we're turning them into past clients. We have experiences. Now, these experiences are actually kind of interwoven into all of the core strategies framework. And what they do is they help build better relationships with the leads. These leads become engaged leads. These engaged leads raise their hand that they're ready to be customers. And then once they're customers, we work to give them a really incredible past client experience or current client experience so that we can continue to engage. Now, it's worth noting, we work with real estate agents. So a lot of the fundamental focus is how can we help real estate agents build this into their business. But ultimately, if you understand the core strategies framework, you're going to understand something really powerful. So understanding the core strategies framework, what we do is we then start to apply that framework to our leads. So they raise their hand, they say, hey, what you've got is really interesting to me. I would like that. Some sort of resource, some sort of guidebook, how to, it's a playlist, a checklist, whatever it is. Maybe it's even a video training. And you're going to bring them in, but maybe they don't know you. Maybe they haven't engaged with you all that often, but they're still a lead. That's pretty great. But we're going to work to make them a warm lead. And then we're going to make those warm leads. We built a little bit more of a relationship with them. We're going to work to build those into engaged leads. This idea comes from a man by the name of Alex Hormozi. So the engaged lead is the person, they've received your resources, they've engaged with you somehow, you've worked to nurture and build a relationship, and then they've risen their hand and said, you know what, I would like what you are offering. Engaged lead, right? So now that we have our engaged lead, what we need to do is work to get some sort of action out of them. So the action that we specifically over here at Workflow Secrets are working to build out of them is for them to take a trial, right? So this is how they come in. They come into our company through a lead magnet. We work to make them an engaged lead, and then we drive them towards a trial of SAM. Now, once we've gotten this far, it has only just begun because, like I said before, they're in a trial. We've got 14 days with them to prove that we are the solution. And this is kind of the interview period. This is where we have to showcase to them that we are the company to get them results. And we have to do it really quickly. Now, there's a lot of ways to go about this, but the way that we have found to be the most effective is to do two things. One, we are going to work to onboard them, and we're working to basically answer all their questions they have before they even know that they were going to have them. That way, they have a solid foundation of what SAM can actually do for them. And the other thing that we're working to do is to prove that SAM is the right tool by actually getting them a result. And this result is actually getting into the system, actually using the system, and proving that it's user-friendly, it's easy to use, it's not too complex. Even if they're not super technical, there will be success in using this product. Now, in the CRM space, there are a lot of stats on how often folks leave CRMs. For a lot of real estate agents, their company or their broker will provide a CRM, and there's a lot of danger that comes with that. If a broker provides your CRM, but statistically, real estate agents change brokers every couple of years, your broker is going to keep your database. So a lot of folks will actually end up having two databases, the one that's provided and then their own personal database. So we have to prove to them, hey, if you're going to go through the trouble of having SAM on top of whatever tool you are already using, SAM is going to be the clear choice that you're going to go to. Now, ultimately, my personal goal is to get you using the system each and every day. That comes a little bit later as we build you into our community, which is a cultural experience that we can dive into a little bit later. So we have our lead magnet to build an engaged lead, and then we drive them into a SAM trial. This is where the fun begins. So the very first thing that we are going to do is we are going to send them an email. And this email says, hey, welcome to SAM. We've got 14 days together. I've got something really fun for you. Now, this email that I have built out inside of here also has a video, and this video is working to humanize me a little bit and to showcase to them, hey, there's a real human that is going to be sending you messages, and they kind of get to know who I am. The reason for this is because each and every one of those emails introduces me. Hey, it's Cody. And so I want them to kind of know who I am. I want them to understand that we are working as a team. And once I've done that, I'm going to start something for them in this specific trial series. Now, this specific trial experience on email 1 is going to open up the idea that we are going to have a 5-day challenge. So what they are going to be doing in the very first 5 days of their trial is they are going to be working to complete 7 tasks. And when they complete all 7 tasks in that timeline, what they are going to do is they're actually going to win a big reward. And this reward is something that is of extreme value. This is actually something that we often sell to new customers. And so we took this and we said, gosh, we sell this pretty often to new customers. Maybe we take the hit financially, and instead of selling it to them, we can offer it as a reward. But because we're offering such a big reward, something that they are often taking advantage of when they come into SAM, we're able to give them a lot of motivation to actually start taking action, right? So the key here is I need, in the very beginning of this trial, to get them bought in. Yeah, they came in. Yes, they're an engaged lead, and they even went as far as taking a SAM trial. But the drop-off point right here is pretty high. I would say it's probably about 80% of folks will get a trial, and then they maybe log in once or twice, but they don't actually use the system. Now, I fundamentally believe, because that trial 2.3 that I had was just showing them feature after feature after feature, they were getting a little overwhelmed. And I believe that because I've had several folks reach out to me and say, gosh, I have a mountain of emails from you that I haven't gotten a chance to sit down and actually work through. And because of that, I ended up engaging with those folks. And in some cases, I ended up having to give them multiple trials. So we're talking about extending any sales process twice as long, maybe even as far as, you know, a couple months extra, which is bad news bears when you work in software sales. So I needed a way to actually go, you know what? I don't want to give out additional free trials. Will I? Absolutely. But I don't want to, right? And so building out a challenge, it gets them to take that immediate action. It gives them a really incredible reward for doing so. And as they're working towards this reward, they're actually learning about the system. So all of these tasks are taken from the things that Mark and I believe they need to know off the bat for them to actually succeed inside of SAM. The very first one being adding their contact database. And CSV is the file type that is most often used to add their contact database. So I say, hey, I know that you need to do a couple of things inside of SAM to be successful. So I'm going to challenge you. Over the next 5 days, you've got 7 tasks. These are the most critical tasks. You accomplish them, I'm going to give you this massive reward. And I keep saying massive reward. Let me give you some parameters for this massive reward. We charge on the very low end $89 a month per account. On the upper end, we charge several $1,000s for larger teams. But if you were just a single real estate agent who wanted a CRM account, right now in 2025, at September 2025, $89. The reward is an $800 package that we traditionally would upsell new customers into. So it's basically a 10x of their monthly value that we are giving away for free just for taking action in the first 5 days. So that's the kind of reward I'm talking about. So I say, hey, listen here. I know that to be successful, you need to have your contact database inside of SAM. So let's go ahead and let's make that first task. And what I do on top of that is I take this opportunity and I actually build in a special offer for them. Now, each and every one of these special offers is available to them for 24 hours. And this specific offer we call the Fast Action Bonus. Now, the Fast Action Bonus is basically saying, hey, you just signed up for a trial. If you want to subscribe right now, right here, you absolutely can. And I will go ahead and I will take care of task 1 for you. Plus, I'm going to give you a one-on-one with our team. And I am going to throw in our SAM Foundations guide. Now, this is a little workbook that we put together that helps individuals. Once they subscribe to SAM, they get access to it. And it helps teach them about how to use SAM. It actually focuses on some of the little intricate parts that maybe they didn't even realize was there. So I say, hey, I will complete task 1 for you. You'll get some bonus time with us. It's about a $200 value. And you still get to work on the challenge. So even though you subscribed, you stay diligent for the next 5 days, you'll get task 1 taken care of. So you only have 6 to go. And you get some extra bonuses. So making an offer right off the cuff when it's really valuable. Now, I was talking about the entrepreneur Alex Hormozi. This idea comes from one of his books called Money Models, right? And so he believes that you should offer an individual into your services in 5 different places. So the first one is first. After that, you need to offer them at some sort of milestone. And this is an event that happens because they did something, right? You also need to offer them an opportunity when they accomplish something. Then you offer at the halfway point and then at the end. So when they first get there, some sort of milestone, when they accomplish something, at the halfway point and at the end. So I took all 5 of these points and I built them into our experience. Now, let's drive this into the actual real estate business, right? So maybe you're one of my real estate folks and you're saying, gosh, Cody, I'm not going to sell the house at the opening. I'm not going to sell it at the 30 days to close. That doesn't make sense. But this is all about driving leads into your business. And I don't know about you, but I fundamentally believe every real estate agent, every business owner, every business builder, every intrapreneur, and every entrepreneur can use more leads. And so thinking about these 5 areas that Alex has generously given to us to start chewing on gives us the formula for where we can start to bring out opportunities. Now, let's think about this in a real estate capacity. One of my brokers, he lives down in Texas, and he is doing something really incredible with his team down in Texas. And he offers live events. And at these live events, he teaches you how to purchase 3 houses in 3 years, right? And he is bilingual, Spanish speaking, because he lives in Texas. He works in Mexico as well. And so it's 3 casas in 3 years. I'm not that great with Spanish. But what he could do for this event, 3 casas in 3 years, is he could think, okay, when they first sign up, I'm going to offer them a VIP ticket. Now, what this VIP ticket comes with is maybe some extra time with us. Maybe we open the doors an hour early to the live event, and they get to have drinks. They get to have appetizers. They get to have extra time with us. Then we could offer them at some sort of milestone. Maybe this is the milestone that is actually after the event. Maybe after the event, they've attended the event, and we know that it typically takes 30 days for one of our individuals to experience that. Boom. Now we have a milestone. We can say, okay, well, typically it actually takes 30 days after the event for them to start on this process. They have to go secure financing. They have to ask their spouse. They have to chew on some stuff, right? And then we can look at the halfway point. We can look at the last chance. We can start to build these into our experiences. So is this always going to be the selling opportunity? Absolutely not. But we can start thinking about these points inside of our business that could actually be applied to these money models. And so this is kind of what I'm working on. And like I said, all of this comes from Alex Hormozi. If you want to actually get like a true grasp on these concepts, his book, Money Models, it just launched. It's incredible. And he dives really deep into this. This is just like a 100,000 foot view. But what we've done thus far inside of our trial is we've gone lead magnet to engaged lead. They've taken a SAM trial, and they've received immediately on taking that trial, email 1. Email 1 offers up a 5-day challenge. It's got a video to humanize me. And then we have an offer that's only good for 24 hours, right? Now, at this point, we've done a lot of things, but we've only just begun. So after this 24-hour period expires, we need to rethink, okay, well, maybe they weren't ready to subscribe. Now, I don't know about you, but for me, I oftentimes want to actually get into the platform and take a look at it before I decide to subscribe. And even though the value we give on the offer is a 3x of the value of the subscription, giving them additional time with us, we throw in what we call our concierge support setup. It's a $250 package that's being thrown into that. Even though we've offered them something really valuable, well, maybe they still just want to actually look at the platform first. So at the 18-hour mark, we give them what Alex would call a down sell. I'm just going to put a little down arrow. Now, this down sell, which kind of looks like a smiley face, is actually saying, hey, I know that you just started a trial. Maybe now is not a really great time for you to subscribe. Maybe you actually want to look at it. But what if I could still help you complete task 1? And so I offer up to actually import that CSV for them, both completing task 1 and moving forward. But what I remove is that concierge support setup by only doing the contact database import. Now, what that does for us is it immediately gets their card on file. And the power in having their card on file is it makes the experience for them much easier a little bit later. Now, we are also charging for this because this is going to cost me and my team some time, but it's definitely not the cost of the subscription, and it's definitely not the value of the concierge support setup. So what we're doing is we're charging $39. That's just the base value of the time that it costs our team to get the CSV, to sit down, clean up the data, to get it imported. And then added benefit to our company, Reciprocity. I benefit you. I get your CSV imported into your contact database. I complete task 1 for you. And then also I have your card on file. That's going to make subscription a little bit easier later. So we're doing 2 things here. We're offering up the same result that we offered up before. And the reason for this is I know that the people who actually get their contact database into SAM are the people, once they subscribe, who are most likely to build success because they've already taken the biggest step, getting their contact database in. So that's why that's task 1, but then it's also being downsold the solution of actually helping them get it in there. And we do it by giving them just a small payment fee that it covers the cost to my team. And then it also allows us to have their card on file. Now, the reason for that, we don't do card on file with our subscription. Some of you guys, if you have technology companies, if you're watching this, maybe you do card on file. But a lot of times I found that there is a barrier to entry when you try to collect payment information and then offer something free. So what we're doing is we're offering it for free, and it truly is free. But if you would like a little bit of help, I'm going to charge you for the time, and I'm going to have your card on file. That's going to help me later, right? So now that we have this goes at the 18-hour mark. So the offer to actually take that fast action bonus is still live, but it's almost about to expire. Maybe it lights a little bit of fire under you to actually go and take the fast action offer. Maybe you end up taking the down sale offer. Either way, you're going to become a customer, or you are going to get task 1 taken care of in both capacities, and I have your card on file. That will help make your subscription a little bit easier later. So after that, we then move into challenge mode. So the really cool thing about challenge mode is there is one experience that is being run, one routine automation that is running, that is trial 2.6, right? But then each of the challenge tasks have their own routine. So task 1 has its own routine. Task 2 has its own routine, and all the way down, thus forward. So what each of these tasks does is when you complete task 1, it's going to send you an email automatically because it's an automation, right? And in email 2, you actually get access to task 2 and task 3. When you complete task 2, there's going to be a tag that gets applied inside your database on your specific contact card. And then when you complete task 3, it's going to say, okay, well, have they completed task 2? Is that tag there? Have they completed task 1? Is that tag there? Because we're also tagging it in that moment. And if they've completed task 1 and task 2, they've then completed task 3, and all 3 of those tags are there, then it's going to send them their next email. So email 3, which sends task 4 and task 5. And that process repeats. But what we're then doing is building a condition into our automation that is going to ensure that if you have completed task 1, but you haven't completed task 3, you don't get task 4 and 5 yet. Now, the caveat to this being, I actually built out on the side of this a web page, and that web page has access to guidebooks as well as the complete task list. So the guidebook has all of the tasks. It has some overview about the actual challenge, the reward, how it's going to be fulfilled, what you guys are going to be doing during that time if you win the reward. And then we also have all of the tasks available to you. Then under that, I have videos for each of the tasks. And then I have little brief descriptions. And then I even have little one-page print-offs of all of the tasks. So what I've done in this capacity, I've given you a secondary method for you to review all of the tasks. You are getting an email that is going to share with you the tasks. This email has the video. This email has the task handout that comes with it. But you could also be driven to a web page that has access to all these tasks. So in this capacity, we are attacking this from lots of different mediums so that you can be successful. I don't want any excuses for them to not be successful. The other thing about this specific challenge is they have 5 days to do the challenge. And so one of the things that was really important to me when building out this specific challenge is that it was actually things that they could do. And the reason for that is because we want them to win. And we want them to win so bad. I wanted to make sure that we were showcasing the most needed tasks that they need to accomplish to build that strong foundation inside of SAM, but then also that it's fun, that it's easy. And because they are spending their time, it's free time and during a free trial for a software that they have not paid for yet. So the incentive for them to actually do anything is pretty low. Now, we've weighted it by giving them a really valuable reward, but let's be honest, does it really mean anything? It's just fictitious money to them because there's no actual skin in the game. So I made sure that the tasks could be done really quickly. And I actually did the tasks myself. I was able to do it in 17 minutes. And so 17 minutes could take care of all of the different tasks if you were to go one by one. I built this out. I did it several times in several brand new trial accounts so that I could have a benchmark of, gosh, how long will this actually take them? So I know how long the challenge can take them. I know how many days they have to complete it. I know the specific tasks. Each of the tasks has a specific outcome that they are going to accomplish that's going to help them learn the software. When they complete a task, the next task email gets sent to them. The system itself is validating that the tasks previously before that have been completed, and it's doing that using tags. Now, the other really cool thing that's happening with those tags, since we're talking about tags, is up here on the 24-hour offer, I have a conditional tag that gets added, and then 24 hours later, it gets removed. So what that means is while this tag is available, they will have access to another routine automation that would allow them to claim that bonus. But then once that 24-hour period is up, that tag gets removed, and then the ability for this specific routine to be activated is completely removed because I have a field that is filled out called a condition, right? So this condition says, hey, if this tag is there and the subscription important date, we talked about those just a little bit earlier, is filled out, I want you to run this. Now, what does this do? It stops the trial. That way they don't get a bunch of offers after they've accepted their subscription. And then it sends them a bunch of emails to help finish out the trial experience without any of the sales pieces. So depending on where they come into this overall experience, where they end up hopping into becoming a subscriber and what they are accomplishing in that moment, there's a lot of moving pieces. Now, full transparency, there's 28 different routines built into this overall trial experience. And this is kind of how it's working out, right? So as they navigate through, they receive email 3, then they receive email 4, and that's going to be task 6. Email 5 is task 7. Now, at that point, they've completed all of the tasks, or at least received all of the tasks, and then we can start to move forward. So let me really quickly wipe this down. Now, something really cool that we can do with all of this, we're talking about these conditional tags that we have going on here. We actually have a condition set up for the reward as well. And what that means is if they have all of those tags, tag 1 through 7 for those tasks, that will trigger the reward routine to start. Now, the reward routine will send them scheduling info. It'll also send a follow-up message to remind them to schedule, and then it'll send them another offer. So because they have completed something, it's now time to give them an offer. So this is called the prime mover offer. And the prime mover offer is different than the fast action offer. That fast action offer no longer exists for them. The prime mover offer is now the current offer that they have access to. Now, this is also available for only 24 hours. And just like I was explaining earlier, there is a conditional tag that is tagging prime mover for those 24 hours. And then after that, it just gets removed and they won't have access to this anymore. But what it says on this prime mover offer is, hey, you just completed something really incredible. And, you've got lots of time left in your trial, but after the trial's over, your progress, it's going to kind of stall. And this reward that you just earned isn't going to be as valuable to you unless you decided that SAM was a tool that was worth investing in. So to make sure that we sweeten the pot for you, we're offering you some additional bonuses. Now, these additional bonuses are different guidebooks, different strategies, different trainings, but all of them meet them where they are at the end of the experience where they've taken all 7 tasks during this challenge, right? Puts it into a package for them, and that is what they get. Now, as this is happening, there are also some folks that did not receive the award. And that's kind of a bummer, right? So let's say that you completed task 1 and 2. You missed task 3. Whoops. But then you came back, you got 4, task 5, task 6, and then you also missed task 7. Well, this is where you can use those conditions again to trigger an additional routine experience. So the conditions say, if I've done any of these, but not all of these, I want you to trigger this. And this is a golden ticket opportunity. Now, you're on this training, and this is very much a back-end piece of this that you probably will never see, because the golden ticket opportunity is not given to anyone who completes the challenge. But the modeling of this is that you should make everyone a winner. And if they've completed any of these tasks, the likelihood that they were trying their best and time got the best of them, business got the best of them, maybe they actually got another close and they couldn't be focused on a free trial of a software they haven't even purchased into yet. So I throw up a golden ticket opportunity to them. I say, hey, I see that you did some of the tasks, but not all of the tasks. If you were to subscribe today, and I give a 24-hour on this, I will actually give you the challenge reward, right? Now, there's no additional bonuses on this, but I wanted to make sure that, hey, if you tried and it just didn't work out, you could take it, but I am requiring that they become a subscriber. So at this point, we have 3 different experiences that are going all at once from this specific challenge. So in this experience, we have those who have completed the challenge but did not subscribe, and they still get the reward. We have those who completed the challenge and subscribed, and they get the bonuses plus the reward. And then we have those who did not complete the challenge, but if they subscribe, they could earn the reward. So Alex believes in the concept of make everyone a winner. And so that is what this is mimicking. You can either complete the challenge, you can put skin in the game and you can earn it. You can complete the challenge and subscribe, and then you get a couple extra bonuses because we like to reward those who have taken action. But let's go ahead and catch them all and make everyone a winner. So if you didn't complete the challenge, but you did try, then just subscribe. And if you subscribe, I'll throw in the reward. It's that 10x value of their subscription. So it's absolutely worth investing into. And they can literally subscribe for a single month. And maybe you're watching this, you could literally subscribe for a single month for $89, a one user account, and you could gain an $800 reward just for subscribing. And you could cancel the very next month. That'd be a really big bummer. It'd kind of be a waste of our time. It'd definitely be a waste of your time, but you could do it. And so we have now addressed all of the different folks in this specific experience and allowed each one of them to come with a different path forward. And there's a automation, a routine that is triggered for each and every one of these. It's leveraging the tags that we have available to us. It's leveraging conditions that we can set for any of the automations deploying. And then it's using important dates like the trial start date and the subscribe date. And then also we have a custom important date. So one of the things that when Mark came to Workflow Secrets and started working on SAM, he brought from his past projects. And it was this begrudged frustration with him having to be the one who always added the different important fields, right? So basically, when someone needed something custom added to an important fields list, they would reach out to the support team. The support team would put an engineering ticket in. The engineering team would then work through the ticket list. Sometimes it could be as quick as a couple weeks. Sometimes it could be as long as a couple of months, all while the user is just hoping and wishing and waiting for that different field to be added. Well, why do we have to do it that way? We don't. And so we have given folks the power inside of SAM to actually go build their own important dates. So what I have inside of SAM is I have an important date that specifically triggers when they have that golden ticket on here. I also have an important date that specifically triggers when they have the challenge completed. So at any point, depending on that important date being filled out, that is what triggers the automation. The automation being triggered gets validated by the condition. If that specific contact meets the conditions of that routine being triggered, that's when it kicks off. Now that is very complex. I understand. Once you see it inside the system, you'll absolutely understand what's going on. So stick with me because this is advanced level routine building. This is advanced level systems thinking, but this is a lot of fun because this is the kind of experience that I've always wanted from my platforms when thinking about automations. This is exactly what we're able to build inside of SAM. So let's go ahead and we're going to keep rolling, but you have these three paths. You either took the golden ticket and you have that. You either subscribed and you earned your golden ticket and now you have the reward, or you decided, you know what, I still am not quite ready to subscribe, but I still earned the reward, and thus you get the spoils, right? So now we've covered the first 5 days of our SAM trial, and they have either completed or they have not completed this specific challenge. So it's either pass or fail, but either way, if they are still in the trial experience, we go ahead and we move forward. Now, another little note that we can cover is at any point, if they accept one of the offers, what I have built into our systems is that when the subscription date is filled out, it will trigger this routine right here, the trial 2.6. I erased that to stop. Now, the reason for that, again, I don't want folks who are now customers having offers thrown at them for them to subscribe. That's just, it doesn't fit like contextually, it's not a great experience, right? And we're building out our world-class client experience. So instead of trial 2.6 running on them, it stops 2.6, and then it actually starts their customer experience. And this is designed to do some onboarding, right? So there are a lot of really great emails, and we're about to talk about them. But what I've done is I've built out customer specific emails after they subscribe that cover those features that we are going to cover on the back end. So now we have a lead, they become an engaged lead, they go through a trial, they take the challenge, they either pass or fail the challenge, they've gone through all of these tasks. If they've subscribed, I have customer specific messages that have stripped out all of the sales offers that they could get if they subscribe, because they already did subscribe. And that is where this splits off and we move forward. So customers will have an email 6 through email 13 that covers the rest of the things that we want to showcase to them during the trial that are going to help them walk into a subscription being fully realized as to what this program is, how this software works, how can I be successful using SAM. That's what that does. But if they do not, we need to continue forward and we need to actually work to keep trying to get them to become customers, right? And so we do that by just moving forward, right? So this is a clear moment of shift, and I'm actually going to push them into phase 2. So phase 2 of the trial unceremoniously starts off by meeting them where they are. They've just completed a challenge, they're still in their trial, and they've only done 5 days of it. So they are in day 6 of 14, and there's lots to cover. So what I do is I say, hey, we just finished the challenge. It's been a lot of fun. Whether you failed, whether you succeeded, or whether you did not get to complete it, that's all right. That's in the past, and we're moving forward. So what we're going to be doing is in email 6, I'm refocusing their expectations. And I'm saying, hey, here's what we're going to do. And for the rest of the trial, we're going to be showcasing some really powerful features. You're going to have a lot of fun. Stick with me, and we're going to move forward. We're not actually giving them an additional reward at this point, but we're just continuing on the conversation. We're moving them forward. But we're not done with offers, right? So email 6 comes off, and one day later, we're going to send out email 7. Email 7 has another 24 hours, and then we get to email 8. Now, arguably, email 7 is my halfway point. And you don't have to argue that hard. 7 days into a 14-day trial is the halfway point. But it felt like email 7 was not the right time to bring up that halfway offer, right? So if you think back to Alex's 5 moments to put an offer in front of someone halfway. So I actually wanted to throw it on the back end of the halfway. That is day 8, right? So I have an arts degree, and one of the things that we think about when we're looking at how to lay out things on a photo is you actually want it to be higher up on the top than on the bottom. You want more space here on the bottom, right? And so the reason for that is aesthetically it feels right. And thus, I feel that aesthetically, email 8 feels right. Now, feel about that how you will. That is my logic. And I will stick to that logic. Let me know in the comments if you think otherwise. And maybe we can have a conversation. But email 8 comes out, and I call this the halfway point offer. So this offer, just like all of the other offers that we've had thus far, is good for 24 hours. It's going to offer up several different bonuses for if they decided that they wanted to subscribe to Sam right now, today. And in doing so, it is going to give them VIP access to future events that we hold. It's going to give them VIP access to some additional trainings that we offer, and it's going to give them some bonus resources. So all of this is going to happen, and it's going to allow them to think about, hey, you know, there's a little status involved right here. If I decided to subscribe, I've already kind of gotten a good look at the platform. I've spent several days in it. Maybe I did or did not complete the challenge, but either way, here's a little gut check. If I could do this much in 1 week, is another week of looking at it really needed? I don't know, maybe, but we're going to offer it up either way. So this is my halfway point offer that comes out on email 8. Now, because we brought up our halfway point, we have so far on those 5 times accomplished the first. Then after that, we have our milestone, we have our activity, and then we have our halfway, right? So you might be saying to yourself, well, okay, we definitely covered the first up here. The halfway makes sense. Let's dive into these middle 2, because it seems like a good breaking point for us to kind of tie the bow. So the activity is actually the challenge. I needed them to accomplish something to earn that offer. And that leaves us with our milestone. Now, the milestone is a really interesting one. How Alex presents it and how best I understood it when I was reading through it is that this is something that they actually need to happen because of something they've done, but it happens for them, right? And lots of different milestones. But what I decided is anytime they build a routine, not anytime, the first time they build a routine, I'm actually going to trigger the milestone. So what that means is either A, up here during the challenge, if they completed the challenge, that's actually going to be triggered during task 2. But if they do not complete this during the challenge, but they still continue forward and eventually get to it, they can then build a routine and they complete milestone, and then they get this milestone offer. And what this specific milestone offer gives them is some bonuses that are specific to routine building. And it says, hey, you've built a really great routine. Nice work. Would you like to build some more routines? Would you be curious about all of the different routines? And so I put together the 25 most used routines based on customer feedback, evaluating real estate, and just thinking about, gosh, what are 25 of the best routines that they could build? And I put that into a package. And so they get an offer at that point. So now we've addressed the milestone. We now have a lead coming through. They're an engaged lead. They start their SAM trial. They've taken the challenge. They either trigger the milestone on task 1, or they move forward. They earn the challenge, or they don't earn the challenge. If they don't earn the challenge, they get their golden ticket. They could take the golden ticket by subscribing and they get the reward. But if they don't get the reward, if they haven't subscribed, then they move to phase 2. If they move to phase 2, we move all the way down, and they've probably gotten at some point already this milestone. Now, arguably, you could build in at some point in here an additional opportunity to trigger the milestone. But what I have found is most of my trialers will build a routine at some point in some capacity, some way, somewhere. And oftentimes it is during the challenge. And if not during the challenge, typically it is around day 7, day 8. Whoa. So this is all very nuanced to my business, but you can see how what I'm looking at is the customer journey and the overall flow of this as I'm thinking through the system that is built into this specific routine experience for my trialers. So as we move forward, they've received their milestone. They now have their halfway point, and maybe they don't take the halfway point. If they did take the halfway point, they would get moved into my customer experience, and they would move forward. But if they do not, then they get email 9, they get email 10, 11, 12, 13, and then we get to email 14. Now, email 14 is coming out on day 14, so arguably they are at the very end. So what I'm going to do at the very end for their trial is I am going to throw up that last chance offer. Now, this is where I took the concept that Alex presents and I actually adapted it so that you have 2 chances to win on a last chance. So I have what is called the end of trial offer. And this end of trial offer is going to do something really cool. At this point, you've gone through the entire experience. You've spent 14 days with us. Maybe you got the challenge completed. Maybe you didn't. Maybe you took the golden ticket, but if you didn't take the golden ticket, you wouldn't be here. Maybe you didn't take the golden ticket and you continued forward and you moved through phase 2, going all the way through 14 days. At this point, if you have not decided to subscribe, I need to pull out all of the stops because the likelihood that you're going to subscribe is pretty low, right? I would say you probably got maybe a 10% chance that these folks subscribe. So what we need to do is we need to create as valuable of a opportunity as the challenge reward and probably arguably even more valuable. So what I built out is what I'm calling the kitchen sink. And the kitchen sink, I went and I pulled out all of our trainings. I pulled out all of our documents. I pulled out all of our best stuff. And I said, you know what? You can have this and 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 this. The kitchen sink, right? And in offering up the kitchen sink, I'm trying my very last shot at getting them to subscribe. If they subscribe, they get the kitchen sink. These are all resources that we've spent time building out for them. These are all trainings that our folks would have access to, but I've just packaged it all together into one area. And I say, hey, here's your shot. Now, the thing about the end of trial experience is I want this to be a standing offer. So instead of like the other offers where they have a 24-hour time period, I do not set a close of offer. This is the only offer that they will have available to them indefinitely onward afterward. But the thing about the end of trial experience is there's also a little mechanism that I built in to provide a little bit of scarcity. And the thing about this is you have to be very careful. Ethically, you need to make sure that you understand what you're doing. This is just what I have found works for my specific business. Lawyer disclaimer could go here, right? Whatever. But I offer up the kitchen sink offer. I leave it open to them. And I say, look, here's the deal. And it's actually true. In 30 days, we are going to delete your inactive trial account. So if you still have a trial account at 30 days, we're just going to go ahead and delete that. Now, the reason we do that is we clear out old trial accounts because maybe in the future you want to come back and take another look. It's easier that way. But more importantly, the less dead accounts we have, as I would call them, the less inactive trialing accounts we have, the faster SAM can run, because we're not having to hold on to databases from folks that are not using SAM. We're not having to hold on to all of the files they created, all the routines they built. It's just taking up storage and no one's using it. We're not using it. We can't even access it. So why would I keep a hold of it? It's of no value to me, right? So at 30 days, I'm going to delete your account. And so I let them know at this point. I say, hey, you've got 30 days. So I've added a mechanism that says, hey, I'm not giving you 24 hours. You got 30 days to decide. If you don't decide by then, SAM's probably not for you, at least not right now. And in the future, when you decide to take a second look at us, hey, you can just start with a brand new account. So there's a win-win to this because they can start over. It's no qualms. And if they decided to, they could actually go through the entire experience again. In fact, lots of folks have, right? But I'm deleting your account at the end of this. So after that point, we need to do a couple of things. The first thing is, here's what we're going to do. We're going to put this email 14 right here. There is this long window for 30 days, right? So in the 30 days after this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to tap in. I told you guys that I have a marketing background. And when I was in grad school, we talked about the different ways that you can position a message. And this goes back to some old ancient dead guy. But ethos, pathos, and logos. Maybe you've heard these words before, maybe you haven't. Logos is logic. Pathos is actually emotional. And ethos is actually the ethics of it. So our ethos, what is our core belief system around this? We're working to engage you on your core belief. We're working to help convince you that we are the right solution based on how you think about, how you believe, and how you exist in this world. Kind of your moral compass, if you will. And we do this by providing examples of other folks from this specific framework. So we're saying, hey, here's how folks have used SAM in the past, and here's the result that you probably want to also get. Ethos. Pathos. We then say, these would be additional emails. This is never the same email, but we're attacking it from different vantage points because each person is going to feel more drawn towards one of these styles of messaging. Pathos is the emotional appeal. Hey, Mark has this great story, and arguably it is an incredible emotional appeal. He talks about his business partner from the 90s when he started off in real estate technology, a real estate agent by the name of Peggy Mitchell. She's one of the Springfield, Missouri area's best real estate agents. She basically sold an entire neighborhood. It's a really incredible story. But she moved from nursing into real estate because she wanted the ability to spend more time with her family. If you know anything about real estate, you're probably kind of chuckling because you guys are really busy people, right? And one night, her husband was out on a hunting trip, and she came home from working late in the office. They had a young child, young enough that it was a child, but old enough that this child could be left alone. It's also the 90s, so say Livy. But Peggy looks around and she can't find Amber anywhere. She's looking in the den. She's looking downstairs. She's looking in the bathroom. She's looking in the kitchen. She can't find her anywhere. She starts to panic, as any parent would. Finally, she rushes to the master and she's getting ready to pick up their phone and call Sherman, her husband, and try to figure out what to do. Then all of a sudden, in the corner of her eye, she sees two little feet sticking out of their master bedroom closet. She runs over and she scoops up Amber, thinking that something terrible has happened. Amber was just taking a little nap. Turns out Amber missed her mom, and she went into her mom's closet because she wanted to smell the perfume on her clothes. Now think about what an emotional appeal that is. This is a true story, by the way. And every time we share that, the room is always teary. I don't always do justice to it, but Mark shares it from the heart, because Mark was a parent of a young daughter at the exact same time. Mark knows what that kind of fear is. So when he shares it with someone who is a parent, they get it. So the pathos of this connects, right? And then the last one is our logos. This is the logic-based folks. These are the folks that we can say, hey, did you know that 80% of people spend 20% of their time doing something? You can give stats, you can get numbers, you can give figures. Oftentimes what we will do is we will explain how much time they can save. And we also explain how much more efficient they can be. And in doing this, time and efficiency, we're able to address the logo. So over the 30 days, we address all of these different things in our emotions. Now, these folks have made it all the way through our trial. They made it through phase 2. They moved all the way to email 14, and they are in a 30-day period, a 30-day holding period before their account gets deleted. So we've taken our last stab at offering them something really incredible by offering up the kitchen sink. They still didn't take the kitchen sink. We're taking a couple more stabs at trying to convert them into customers. So that is what we're doing over this 30-day period. But then once we get all the way through the 30-day period, we get to email 15. And email 15 says, hey, it's account delete day. And it reminds them, hey, several days ago, almost a month ago, over a month ago, you tried Sam, and while you were trying Sam, you did some really great things. While you were doing those really great things, you actually started building out your new system. Do you really want that to get deleted? Think about all this progress that you just made, and it's about to get deleted. But if you subscribe in the next 24 hours, you can save it. So this is truly our last chance offer that I'm creating. And the end of trial offer ends up becoming a precursor to our last chance offer. But in doing this, I'm able to reinforce they've gotten to spend a period outside of Sam, and maybe things got better, but probably things did not get better. They got worse because they still are not managing their business. They still haven't solved the problem that they looked towards Sam to solve, and they spent time in here. They've already invested it in this specific software. So gosh, why would they let all of that hard work get deleted? Now from here, they could take the trial, or they could take a subscription off of their trial. Bada bing, bada boom. The account does not get deleted. But if for some reason they have not decided by that point that they want to subscribe, I've pulled out all of my best tricks, and I've used all of my marketing acumen. I've really tried to deliver for them. I've tried to over deliver for them, and I've tried to teach them about the software. I've tried to give them bonuses. We're probably not the right solution for them. So that's okay. And what I do is I say, hey, we're probably not the right solution for you, but I firmly believe sending folks off better than I found them. Clearly, you found us because something interests you. And because we are the AI system that's replacing real estate CRMs, what we have found is most folks find us because they're in real estate and they're a little bit interested in AI, artificial intelligence. So I say, hey, I have a bunch of AI resources that are specific to real estate. Here you go. Here's direct access. And I'm actually giving them some of our lead magnets. Now, what's really interesting about this is I am sending them off better than I found them by giving them some additional resources. But these resources, because they're lead magnets, they exist on a website and they could trade just like any other lead magnet, the resource or their details for those resources. These lead magnets actually drive back towards a free trial. So their account is getting deleted. I'm giving them resources, but I'm closing the loop so that in the future, maybe they do sit down and they read these resources, and then maybe they end up learning just enough about AI that they get redrawn back towards Sam. Boom. Now we can have them as an engaged lead again. Maybe they'll take a new trial. Maybe that time they will end up taking a challenge. Maybe they see that offer, the fast action offer, and they jump on it because now it's the right offer for them. And we built this in so that we can send them off better. It's a concept called reciprocity. And it's kind of like when someone gives you a free water bottle right before they sell you a large package of supplements, right? But in doing so, we've given them something free. I've sent them off better than I can find them. I've given them all of my best stuff, our best workflow secrets, if you will. And we've not found a way to get them as customers yet. And so I've just kind of moved on. And from there, that's the end of the trial experience for me. So at that point, something happens on the back end. And this is kind of unbeknownst to them, but what I do to close out the routine is I send a message, and this message does not go to them. It actually goes to our team. And I actually have a safety net built in that is email 16 comes one day after. So I say, hey, account delete day is today on email 15. Day 16, I send them this lead magnet package that's, hey, your account's getting deleted. I'd like to send you off better than I found you. But then I build in a safety net that's actually 5 days. You only get to know this because we're spending time together. This is not something that I share during the trial experience, but I do that because what Mark is about to do cannot be reversed. And once it's done, it's done. And what I don't want to happen is them to go back to email 14 and take the kitchen sink offer or take this last chance offer, but we've already deleted their account. That's kind of a bum deal, right? So this is just kind of a last chance safety net. But this specific message goes to our team, Mark and I. And it's a message that says, hey, name and email, was not interested in Sam, and you can go ahead and delete this account. This message gets sent via email, and then it also pings us on our Slack. Now, Slack is a secondary software company, and it's kind of like Facebook Messenger. It's often used for internal comms, but it is a company we integrate with. So we send it to Slack. It's a quick note. that allows us to understand. And then it also sends an email to our business email accounts. That way we can keep record of it and we can add it to our account delete list. So that is the trial experience. But before we close this out, let's go ahead and sing the hole in the log and go through this one more time. So routines building mini training for the trial 2.6 experience. We build out a lead magnet. We actually have lots of lead magnets, but for this case, we build out one lead magnet. We send it out to our lists. In some cases, several hundred, in some cases, several thousand people will receive this lead magnet. Now, this is truly the power of building automations, because I send this out to one person and it can handle it. I send this out to 100 people and they all come into the trial at the exact same time. Sam can also handle that. They will receive the same great experience over that time frame. It doesn't matter. Think about what you can do if you wanted to build a world-class client experience and be able to service 100 people at a time. If you're in real estate, that could be 100 transactions that you're working through at once. Or you could just be one-off. And so building out these experiences in a way that scales, that's able to be grown from 1 to 100 to 1,000 to 100,000 people all at once, and you can handle it. What this does for our company is allows Mark and I to stay what is called lean. Lean not as in a diet term, but lean as in a small number of employees. We don't necessarily need to hire out because we have processes in place to handle all of this. And in doing so, I get the opportunity not to spend my day following up with emails, but building out trainings like this for you, or editing videos, or spending time with customers, or having customer meetings and helping them understand how to use SAM better. We're building better customer experiences. We're building better relationships. And we're not having to sacrifice so much time being plugged in, trying to do all of this stuff manually. That's truly the power of routine automations. So we send out a lead magnet. They become an engaged lead. When they're an engaged lead, they end up taking a SAM trial. Immediately after the SAM trial starts, we introduce the challenge to them. I introduce myself on a video. The challenge runs for 5 days. At that point, they have either completed the challenge and they get this crazy awesome reward, $800 reward, or they didn't complete the challenge. And if they've done any of the tasks, they get an opportunity of a lifetime, or golden ticket opportunity. If they want to subscribe at that moment, they could also gain the reward. But if they don't, that's totally fine too. We navigate them into phase 2. In phase 2, we talk about, hey, you are embarking on the second half of your trial experience. Here's what we're going to do. We offer up a couple more opportunities. Halfway point, the milestone would have been triggered up at the top or around the halfway point. Then they make it all the way to email 14. At email 14, we say, hey, you're at the end of your trial. You got a good look at SAM. Would you like to subscribe? If you would like to subscribe and you have not yet, here is probably the biggest offer that we can have. I've collected all of the resources that I've got laying around our business and our Google Drive, all of the trainings that we've worked on. Have at it. Here's the kitchen sink. At that point, we move on. If they don't end up taking the kitchen sink offer, I give a 30-day period where all of the emails that we send to them, there's like 4 or 5 of them, are focused on hitting them in the 3 different areas that you need to start marketing towards someone: the ethos, the pathos, and the logos. Now, at the end of their 30-day period, if they have not taken the kitchen sink offer, I say, hey, here's the deal. We're going to delete your account because you're clogging up bandwidth in SAM. And if you would like, you can still subscribe. If you end up subscribing today, you'll keep all of this progress and it won't be in vain, because think about how much work you did. Think about how in that 30-day period, you didn't solve this problem that you were looking to solve when you came to SAM initially. And guess what? the entire 30 days, I'm reinforcing into them that folks just like them have solved that problem using SAM. And so at this point, they have all of this evidence pointing towards the fact that SAM is the solution. And if I don't have them at that point, gosh, I'm probably not going to get them. And that's totally fine. We're not the right solution for everybody, but I'm going to try my best to be the right solution for as many of them as I can. From there, I give a 1-day buffer. That's for my sake. And I send them out a email 16. That email 16 establishes reciprocity. Reciprocity being, hey, I'm going to send you off better than I found you. And hopefully they will not hate me for that. Because ultimately, real estate's a really small world. Real estate technology is even smaller. And you don't want to ruin your reputation by being an a-hole, right? So let's just solve that by being a good guy. And I do that by trying to give them all of my best workflow secrets. And so I send them on. The cool thing about giving them all my best stuff is it actually builds in a lead magnet sequence that could drive them to a trial at some point in the future. And so even though I'm closing the door, I'm leaving it cracked. And I move forward. Now, the 5-day buffer is in there. For me, it's a catch-all safety net. At that point, I send a message to my team. I say, hey, this account's ready to be deleted. We are about to have some more space inside SAM. Let's go. At the cost, we didn't get a customer. That's kind of a bum deal. I wish we could have helped them, but maybe they'll come back in the future. I would love that. And then we move on with our life. I've sent that via email. I've sent that via Slack. That is the trial 2.6 experience. Now, we have covered what this is, but what we need to do now is look at it inside SAM. So if you're still with me, go ahead and take a moment and just like stand up and stretch. Maybe we do some of this. Just right here. Just kind of squiggle left and right and let your arms float freely. Now, once we have done this, we're going to jump into SAM. So if you have not yet taken a free trial, go ahead and visit sam.workflowsecrets.info and you can gain a 14-day free trial. You can watch this entire thing unfold and you could go all the way through and you could receive these lead magnets at the very back end. And then I suppose you could wait 30 days. You could let us delete the account. You could start again and then you could take the offer at any point. But what I would hope is that if you're looking for a CRM, if you found this trial experience building training, if you're a systems thinker and you are really interested in automations, if you are inside real estate and you are looking for the AI system that is replacing real estate CRMs, we're the solution. But here's the kicker. I am not a real estate agent. I am a real estate technology builder. And we use SAM. So if you're not in real estate, guess what? You could still use SAM. The only thing that you would not need inside that account is access to the properties database, but that's just one small area. Everything else would be incredibly useful to you. So whether you're in real estate, whether you're not in real estate, and you've made it to this point, go ahead and hop over, get a free trial of SAM, see this, build it, run it, experience it, and then subscribe to SAM because this is going to be the solution for you. And I truly believe we're the team to help you accomplish something really incredible inside your business. So now what we're going to do is we are going to dive inside the platform. We're actually going to look at how we do this, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to finish up there. But this has been so much fun for me to actually build and accomplish and put into motion. It took me almost an entire month to actually review all of the different feedback that we had. And realistically, it was 3 years worth of work taken, reviewed, and then plugged into a new trial experience. I firmly believe this experience will take us into the next 3 to 5 years of where we're headed with SAM, which is something truly incredible. The ultimate goal for SAM is that you are no longer tied to a desktop or a laptop computer. Now imagine having access to a personal assistant who has the entire context of your CRM because it is your CRM. And you could do that in several different ways, one of which would be having conversations over your phone while you're in the car, commuting, or while you're just working about your life. So imagine a Jarvis-style assistant, always ready, has full context of your business, and can help you out. That's where we're taking Sam. But for now, we needed to build the foundation, and that's exactly what we're going to be looking at. So until then, I'm super excited. Thanks for sticking around. Thanks for looking at this experience with me. Hopefully this has been a lot of fun for you. And go ahead and hop over to part 2. What we're going to be diving into is the actual back end of our customer account that we use to help manage our entire business inside of SAM. If you have any questions, feel free and reach out. Cody at workflowsecrets.info. If this kind of thing is something that you would like to have help building into your business, you can either get a subscription, or we have several different ways that you can actually work with us that would involve us helping build this for you. But either way you split it, we are about to do something incredible. We're about to do it together inside of SAM, and I can't wait to see you.